John motherfucking Boehner. He's one of those RINO types for people who are new to federal politics. He was around. He was the former Speaker of the House back when Republicans had control of the House prior to fucking Paul Ryan being in the... He used the same one that Boehner did because it's the one that conveniently has the fist affixed. And he's making the cable news tour, and he's saying that Trump abused the loyalty and trust of his voters. No evidence election was stolen. And according to YouTube, that is 100% correct, right? And I wouldn't dare say otherwise, of course. But yeah, perhaps Boehner was in the midst of his writing sessions, and he'd spend some additional time with the Lincoln Project types, perhaps perusing the middle schools and bathhouses in his local area. But who knows? Who knows? He's making the headlines, sort of the fucking midlines, the page 16s around the country. Former House Speaker John Boehner from Ohio, sorry about that, a bigger disgrace than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, said Tuesday on CNN's The Lead that former President Donald Trump abused the loyalty and trust that his voters placed in him by saying the 2020 presidential election was stolen. A couple of things on there that CNN's ears perked up to, and they probably have this running on fucking repeat. They probably have Brian Stelter down there in the corner. They have a little checklist, right? It's a Republican speaking out against Trump. It's Trump. It's Orange Man, and they've been fucking jonesing for it. And it's election irregularities, things that they like to run out over and over and over again, because then they can say no evidence of widespread voter fraud. One of their very, very favorite statements that they haven't been able to say at least in a little while, because most people have just fucking moved on because that's the way things work, right? You don't cry over spilt milk. Discussing Boehner's new book, anchor Jake Tapper said, in one sentence, you say that Donald Trump pushed a, quote, bullshit language lie that the election was stolen. Okay. As far as I know, Boehner wasn't in the House. He wasn't even relevant when Trump was in office. All he was just some old, disgruntled former Speaker of the House. Hopefully we can say the same about Nancy Pelosi in a couple of years. So who gives a shit what he has to say? Nobody cares. His opinion hasn't been relevant in a very long time. Oh, and that he noted, oh man, another tick in the box. And then he noted he incited the insurrection on January 6th. Another thing that's already been settled. Listen, you guys lost the impeachment. You didn't get the votes, and you can continue to bellyache because justice wasn't done. I didn't feel safe that day. I was a block and a half away in my office, just cowering in fear. Remember, these are the people that are stunning and brave in Washington, right? Fucking Christ. Scared of an asshole in a fucking buffalo skin. Give me a break. Boehner said, well, I'm still waiting for evidence to show up. The president was out there every day talking about the election being stolen and filing lawsuits. Is he on that fucking trail that thinks that Trump actually filed 68? I forgot what the fucking number's up to now. He filed all those lawsuits, even though his legal team, his campaign filed four goddamn lawsuits. But whatever, lie travels halfway around the world before the truth can put its pants on. So I've heard. I'm waiting for the evidence, and sadly no evidence ever showed up. I think that the president abused the loyalty and trust of his voters placed in him by not being honest with American people about the outcome. We could go into a very deep discussion about this, but unfortunately our big tech overlords will not allow me to do such. You can go on alternative platforms like Odyssey and Rumble. If you want to see my old opinions, still haven't changed, but I'm not allowed to tell them out here on YouTube. But what I can show you is that Democrat polling firms admit major errors in the 2020 election polls. Interesting, right? It's probably alright that Democrats say this, but if I was to make the same statement about the other side of the aisle, that opinion could be verboten. Let me just get this disclaimer out of the way. This is not a fucking pussyfoot way around YouTube's stupid restrictions. Even if they find evidence of anything that has gone on, it's not going to make that big of a difference. Nothing's going to be reversed. The proper way to go through this stuff, if there was significant evidence of something, okay? We'd have to go through the impeachment process, and guess what would happen? President Kamala sooner than expected. Now, is anybody chomping at the bit for that? Does anybody think that that would be an improvement over Grandpa, who just wants to sit down with a bowl of oatmeal and sign whatever's put in front of him? That he just wants to be told in his earpiece to salute the Marines, and instead of saluting the Marines, he just stares at his stupid old shoes? I would much rather have him than to have to look at the biracial face that has launched 1,000 ships in the opposite direction. A group of top Democratic pollsters released a public statement Tuesday acknowledging major errors in their 2020 polling, while venturing several theories they believe may account for the blunders. You'll love to see it. In 2020, the industry saw major errors and failed to live up to their own expectations. Yeah, these were these assholes that were saying retarded things like Biden's up by 17 in Wisconsin, even though it was won by a cunter. But hey, you know what? There was no irregularities in our polling, right? No, we're totally 100% on top of that stuff. There was nothing that we did that was wrong or incorrect. In fact, we hedged our bets right before the day when everything started to convene. Weird, huh? More pre-election polls ahead of the November election overstated presidential candidate Joe Biden's lead over then President Donald Trump. In some states, incorrectly predicted that Biden would win, that the race would be close. This sparked critical post-election media commentary, with some asserting that polling seems to be irrevocably broken, while others argued that the polling industry is a wreck and should be blown up. I'm somewhere in the latter. I'm fucking without a doubt. There were a couple of good ones out there. Big Data Poll on YouTube, People's Pundit Daily, Richard Barris, very good, very accurate. All things considered, very, very accurate. It's one of those things, right? Because we compared the results for 2016 compared to 2012, and even against taking a look at some of the predictions in 2018. Because one that just immediately comes to mind is, remember, Andrew Gillum and Ron DeSantis were running for governor of Florida, and I won't spoil you on the result, but that was supposed to be like a 3-point victory for Gillum. Interesting. And Stacey Abrams was also up in the poll in Georgia for governor. And who is in charge in Georgia right now? I can't remember. The name slips by me. But yeah, we've seen that the senatorial, all of the down ballot races in 2016 and in 2012 were not that close. Even though Nate Silver correctly predicted all of the states in 2012, which it's impressive, right? It's not necessary. It's still a feat nonetheless. But Congress... But Senate picks, wrong. And that's what this says. And good thing. It only took them, 6 months after the fact for them to come out and say, yeah, we kind of fucked up. How'd you fuck up? We fucked up. It's because you oversampled Democrats. It's because your polling methodologies are worthless, that you ask leading questions that are arranged in a way that will provide you with the evidence that you want instead of the evidence that is there. They aren't going to change. We knew that they were junk in 2016. We took a look and laughed at everything in 2020, and if circumstances were different, we'd be laughing our ass off right now. But you thought that they could have saved face after the outcome of this, but coming out months later saying that, yeah, we fucked up a little bit, I suppose that makes it a mea culpa. Is anybody going to take them seriously in 2022 again? Nah, I wouldn't imagine so. 2024, don't fucking make me laugh, because there'll be a bigger fucking joke. Stand-up comedy might not be back by 2022, at least in the way that it was prior to the pandemic, but if anybody else needs a good laugh, 538.com provides quite a hysterical look at the world. And with that said, we're going to go back to Canada. I hate beating the fucking door down, but everybody's starting to clown on Trudeau, and it's becoming patently obvious as to why the public perception is starting to turn on him. So if you want, stay tuned, and if not, we'll catch you tomorrow with more world news. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.